I don't think that the growth story of rugby, 95% of the growth story of rugby has got nothing to do with the RPL. Rugby is a sport that is played in 322 districts out of 760 in the country, and that's been going on for the last 20 years. This growth has been slow, has been deep, has been long lasting, has been true, and has nothing to do with the RPL. The work of the Indian Rugby Football Union, which is Rugby India, the federation, is 95%. RPL is only 5%. So in that respect, there is nothing to report in terms of the growth of rugby through the RPL, which has got any impact to do with the larger rugby story. The larger rugby story is the story. As far as RPL is concerned, what it has done is that it has created 6 teams in 6 cities where the presence of rugby has been very limited. Our 322 districts are all over the country, but in the hinterland, not in the big cities. So the RPL has been created for many reasons, but certainly one of the reasons is to promote rugby in geographies where there was no promotion of rugby happening. Our state associations are doing a wonderful job, but as far as the cities of these 6 big cities are concerned, much more can be done. So the aspiration, the intent of creating the RPL were many reasons. One of the reasons is that your 6 team owners will start to create their own separate infrastructures in each city. For example, a ground, a rugby ground, a physical training center, a sports science center, maybe a place for rehabilitation. So what will happen then is that in their quest to win the title, they will want to develop better and better facilities for their teams to train and practice in. So in the first year, what happened was there was only an awareness that there is, now we have to create teams. You don't have to create a Delhi team from Delhi players. They can be from all over the country. So now there is an increasing awareness amongst team owners that, okay, we need to do much more within our geographies for the players that we are interested in scouting in the 11 months that the RPL is not there, so that this team has a chance to win. So in that respect, this is very, very clearly one of the spin-offs. The fundamental reason behind the RPL, the fundamental reason is that nobody knows the sport, so we don't get any financing, we don't get any backing, we don't get any broadcast, we don't get any sponsors. Through the RPL, now you have a high-profile property that is on a high-profile bouquet of channels, whether it's Jio Hotstar, whether it's Star Sports Select, whether it's Star Sports YouTube, and it's being watched by people who clearly are the ones who drive the spending, especially when it comes to premium products. So all of that is the reason why the RPL was conceived, and of course reasons for development, reasons for making sure that we get into the cities, reasons for making sure that tomorrow there will be another financial pathway for our players, making sure that we have infrastructure as well as employment opportunities for so many people involved in the ecosystem who are not players, who could be physiotherapists, who could be massage therapists, nutritionists, psychologists, who will be utilized by these 6 franchises going ahead.
One of the interesting aspects is the player profiles that we see, especially the Indian player profiles of RPL. A lot of people come from different backgrounds, the rural areas, and some of them are athletes who used to be athletes in a different sport, but then coming to rugby. How do you see, people or your scouting players, how do you see players or candidates, potential candidates viewing rugby as a lucrative sport for themselves?
It's not true. Financially, rugby is not a lucrative sport as yet. So I think we have gone from 0 to 50 in the last 5 years, where we are paying our the players who make the national camp, players who play our international tournaments. But is it a lucrative pathway compared to other sports, a few other sports? No.
Not yet.
So it's not yet a lucrative pathway. It's getting there. And yes, It has definitely kept the home fires burning for about, we are paying and looking after with world-class facilities, maybe 100 and 150 players in our ecosystem. But that's not enough. We need to make it much more. So that's where the broadcast, that's where the sponsors, that's where this property comes to actually create the kind of finances we need to feed into our development, to feed into our high performance program, to make our players fully professional. That is where it's going to be. Otherwise, the story of rugby is the story of any sport in this country, in the villages. The same aspirations, the same hopes, the same worry about financial stability, the same worry about longevity, all of that happens. So we're no different from any other sport that goes into rural India. But what we hope to do through the RPL is to break the cycle with an infusion of interest through spectators and money.
Just if anyone who casually views the RPL website and you see the stats of top players, I mean, it's all, most of them or all of them are, international players. Do you think the international player participation is a very good exposure for our Indian players? And do you think there is a possibility, though they might be overshadowing our own Indian players, but in the future, do you think we have the potential to reach them?
So first of all, it's not international players. It is the best international players.
Yes.
So you have the best international players here. I mean, the kind of players you've seen here, you will not see anywhere under one roof unless it's an HSBC 7 series. The difference between us and playing for your country is that here, the best players are playing alongside each other as opposed to opposed to each other, which is a great thing for a rugby fan. Apart from that, you will find that the entire format of 4 minutes into 4 quarters each creates an intensity that, while there is a difference between the Indian, specifically in the men's players versus the international players, while there is a bit of a difference, because of the short, sharp nature of the format, the difference is a lot less because everybody can give their best in those 4 minutes. As far as the women go, I don't think there's a difference. Whatever I've seen right now, that's partly because we don't have the best women in the world, barring a couple. We will get them next year. It's a function of commerce, it's a function of payment, all of that. We will get them next year. But right now, we have as many women, Indian women who've had, persons of the matches, player of the matches, as people from outside India.
You had said that the RPL is not directly playing a big part in the growth story of rugby in India in itself. But do you think it has perhaps created you that aspirations?
No, the pipeline is already there. I think this would be denigrating the work of the federation.
Okay.
The pipeline is already there. The pipeline of players is already there. There is no magic player who has emerged from the RPL. The RPL is consisting of Indian players who are from the Indian ecosystem. It's not that somebody's come from somewhere only because of the RPL. First of all, the RPL doesn't pay that much. And second of all, the RPL is not something that has spread. Can it be a game changer in the future? Certainly. If it spreads the way it has spread in other sports, can it become a pathway for hope? And can it attract players, athletes or newcomers into the sport to try rugby because of the RPL? Definitely. And that's definitely the dream.
How valuable do you think the Indian players sharing the dressing room with these best international players, as you put it, would aid for their aspirations if they want to grow in their career?
I think the difference the benefits of any Indian player spending 3 weeks with the best in the world is incalculable. It's invaluable. Off the field, the culture, the discipline, the professionalism, on the field, the passion, the temperament, so much to learn and to understand that these are athletes who treat themselves as professional athletes, elite athletes, and that mindset is much more important than how much money is being spent on you. The mindset that I'm a professional athlete, I'm not going to go back and eat some junk. I'm going to follow what the nutritionist, and we have one, tells us on the national camps, or the psychologist, I will look after my mental health. I will make sure that I look after my strength, my conditioning, my rehabilitation after surgery. Finally, these are all adults. You can't force them to do things they don't want to do. So it's very, very important for them to look at these the best international rugby players and begin to understand, there's a method behind the madness.
Previously, in our interview, you had actually said that the target is the Olympics. To get a team prepared for aiming for the international Olympics for rugby. Tell us, where does RPL stand in that plan, and what else do you think that needs to be done to probably achieve that dream?
No, again, our preparations for the Olympics have very little to do with the RPL. It is to do with the National Federation and all our states. So what we are doing in preparation for the Olympics is just competing at the Asian level and making sure we get to that high point at the Asian level where we qualify. So this is a continental reservation system. So when you get to the top two in Asia, then you can take it for granted that you're almost there in the Olympics. Right now we are number 6 in our women, number 12 in our men. So climbing up these rankings, the RPL is not going to directly do anything for that. The RPL is, after all, 2 weeks of 2 weeks of rugby in a year. It's the remaining 52 weeks that our athletes have to build on. What the RPL will do for 30 of our men and 24 of our women who are participating is make their minds, elevate their minds. Their bodies are not going to change in 13 days, but elevate their minds to start thinking differently. And that culture will then spread. But it will be slow and it will not be magical. So the major ambition of Olympic ambition rests on the shoulders of the federation. Last question.
Last two, sir.
Last question. Very long.
The women's rugby. I just wanted to have a question.
Last question.
Just tell us. This is the first season. How much potential is there?
I have spoken to the international coaches who've been watching the Indian women play, and they have been extremely surprised. In my opinion, there will be 1 or 2 Indian women next year itself who will be, I'm sure they will get offers from international clubs. I can think of 2 already, for sure. Already. I've spoken to the referees. We have the best referees in the world out here. And they're like, sometimes when the try is scored, we don't know if it's international woman or Indian woman. That still has to do with the fact that the very best international rugby players for women are not here, barring a couple. So we have to see, when we increase the very best amongst the women coming in next year from all over the world, will there be a difference or not? Right now there's no difference. Right now it's absolutely seeming the same. So I think in that respect, I can see a lot of positive movement happening, but the positive movement, the credit should be given to the players for the remaining 52 weeks of the year, not through the RPL.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you.
Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.